Hey everyone, welcome back. This is another cast, and luckily today with me, I'm going to say it again, I'm sorry, but a very sexy man with me,
Oh
Special
boy.
from no homo, of course, from TSM, and he's going to be guest casting us. And this is between two teams, TGF, Team Green Forest, and Aphromoo, who's from V8. I believe they're actually going to be breaking up because of inactivity, and this is his kind of new team he's putting together. And especially when I've been talking before this started, and do you want to go ahead and give us like a little rundown of what's happening in this point of the game,
Yeah,
like invasion?
yeah. Both teams are looking to aggressively invade, with Aphromoo team going towards the enemy blue, purple side's blue, while TGF is going towards just staying on top rush for now. Maybe they're trying to invade into the blue, but for now we don't know. Okay, so right now we see V8 heading back down. They're just, or sorry, Aphromoo team heading back down. They're just looking around, trying to see where TGF is likely.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that TGF is kind of sitting in top bush, just trying to. It looks like they're going to try to invade blue and take that quickly. Are they just trying to snatch it, or are they actually trying to like cause a fight at level 1? Because Lee Sin obviously doesn't need to start at blue.
Yes, but right now, Aphromoo team has no idea where TGF is. So, if they choose, TGF can take blue side's blue for virtually no losses. And this is look like okay. So I'm pretty sure they thought that Lee Sin was starting at blue because they waited until after blue spawn and after Lee Sin would have taken some damage. But Lee Sin obviously didn't start blue and he started red, so they're just gonna take the blue for free.
How do you as a support typically deal with being well having protecting your jungle from counter jungling? Like I know offensive warding is really strong. Like when you're trying to invade to see where the jungler is going.
Yeah, level 1 is all about vision. Getting vision by invading is really strong. By invading, you at least know where the enemy is not, and you can pretty much deduce where they would be. Okay, so here, Aurelia is being very aggressive, and Maokai just went in, and okay, Aurelia blue flash. That was a really good move. And okay, here's Lee Sin coming up, and Maokai's getting pretty low. Flashes. Lee Sin's getting low too. They're both, oh, they're all really low, and it looks like Maokai's gonna go back to base. And that was not exactly a good exchange, even though Maokai had the first jump. So here we see Maokai's going back in his jungle, stuff is going back to normal, and Lee Sin might be coming around.
Yeah, they actually it was kind of a mutual trade there, getting both flashes. Well, one off the jungler and bottom. Well, we missed that kill, but Tarek and Severe being really aggressive at bottom, just stunning Corki, landing the boomerang blade, and making take a ridiculous amount of damage, especially at low levels. When Straka's healed isn't too strong and has a really long cooldown.
Yeah, actually, 3 kills just went down in a span of 5 seconds, with Maokai going down from Lee Sin, bottom trading first blood for a kill. So the game is looking pretty good for V8, or sorry, Aphromoo team. They're actually ahead by 1k gold in at the 4-minute mark. So it looks like Aphromoo team is doing really well.
And at top, we see Aurelia going in for a stun, keeping her health lower than Udyr, and Lee Sin trying to come in for that gank. While he scared Maokai, or while he killed Maokai, he's been taking his jungle. He took Maokai's red. I believe he got double golems as well, and he's trying to really get that kill on Udyr and make him, since he's down his flash already, and they do get that kill, it looks like. And Lee Sin backing off, obviously, to get the kill to Aurelia to give her that huge advantage, since Udyr is pretty strong against Aurelia.
Yeah, right there, Udyr used his flash. Lee Sin was very smart with his engagement. He W'd onto a nearby minion and E'd for a slow, and Udyr had no more escapes, and he was pretty much dead. And Aphromoo team pulled off really well. Lee Sin making sure that his slow lands and making sure his Q lands, and securing that kill for top. Right now, the kills are 3-1 for Aphromoo team. So Aphromoo team is really ahead right now.
Yeah, we were talking during the loading screen about how Afromoo's team has a really strong comp. You were talking about how like any Euro team would love to have this kind of team comp. Actually, real quick here, Lisa notices Maokai is approaching the river and does try to get some good damage on him. He knows his flash is down, and Rise is trying to come over as Ari tries to protect Maokai, and Lee Sin does get it. And Rise actually popping his flash to stun her, to Rune Prisoner, and they pick up a double kill here, putting them even farther in the lead, with a 2K gold lead advantage now. But sorry, what I was saying was is that you were saying they're a really strong comp, and I want to talk to you since this is your area of expertise is Taric Severe versus Corki Soraka. Who should based on mechanics, who should win this lane without an enemy jungler invading?
Actually, it really depends on how well the Tarek's Silver lane is. Because Corki and Struck is a passive lane, Tarek and Silver are going to be the one making the plays and going to be the ones being aggressive. And it looks like they're doing really, really well by being aggressive, and that's kind of what you want. You want to be aggressive on like Soraka, especially before she hits level 3, before her heal actually does something. Right now, before that point, her heal only does 70 HP, and that's really nothing. And here we see, okay, a trade, 1-for-1. Udyr coming down from the top, and Lee Sin falling, and giving a double buff to Udyr, who's actually really far behind in levels compared to Ryze, who's already level 6, and Udyr's only level 4 right now. Aurelia should be hitting 6 very, very soon. And right now, despite getting a double buff for Udyr, Udyr is still behind. He still will likely lose lane because Aurelia will have a huge advantage in both gold and experience. So this is looking pretty dire, even with double buff for Udyr.
Yeah, we really saw right there how aggressive Lee Sin can be as a jungler with invasion. He warded the enemy team's little wraith camp, and he saw that Maokai was doing them, and he tried to make something happen there. Unfortunately, it didn't work for him, but it just shows how powerful of a jungler Lee Sin is. Well, before the changes, because they are changing him quite a bit in the upcoming patch.
Yeah, but basically, even though the changes are in store for Lee Sin, the core mechanics for Lee Sin, where he can be very aggressive, he's a very strong ganger, plus he still has a slow. None of that is changing. All of that, the only things that are changing is his ability to clear camps as quickly. And here we have a ping going on Rise. So it looks like Maokai might be coming in for a gank, or perhaps not. Either, oh, okay, they're likely signaling for wards in those areas, or that there are wards in those areas. So right now we just see Aphromoo team in a pretty significant advantage right now, and here Corki uses Valkyrie to avoid some harass. Rise getting blue right now, so this will make laning against Rise much more scary.
Yeah, Rise finally he has his tier, and he's actually ahead by 22 CS on Ari. And as we all know, the more mana Rise gets, the more ridiculous he becomes in lane.
Yeah, exactly.
And at bottom, I want to talk real quick about how well they're doing. If you notice, like whenever Taric lands that stun, Sivir has her blade, or sorry, her bouncing blade ready to go. I think it's called bouncing blade. Sorry, it's not. And Taric gets that shatter off for the extra damage, and it just chunks Corki. I wouldn't expect him. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually had to go like a Wriggles if they do keep getting denied at bottom, even though he is up in CS a little bit.
Actually, that's really how a Turk Silver lane should be played. It should be a
Yeah.
very aggressive, and every time that stun lands, yes, it should be followed up with a boomerang blade, and that's really how the EUs like to run Sivir, being very aggressive early and still being very strong late game because Sivir is one of the strongest late game AD carries in this game. So by doing well bottom, they're not only setting tone for mid game, it's also going to set up for a really, really strong late game just by being in the lead on a really strong carry.
We're seeing Lee Sin here trying to go for a dragon, and I believe he doesn't know that it's not warded. I believe he might think that it is now, and he does get an amazing flash and an ult knockback into Rise, who can picks up the Rune Prison and gets the kill on her. And they are easily going to be able to get this dragon with Aurelia teleporting down. That was quite an amazing play by Lee Sin to make sure to get that kill secure on Ari. And they are going to be able to pick up this blue, it looks like, stopping Maokai, potentially getting a kill on him. Yep, and there it is. I know you have a lot of experience with Ari. How do you feel about Ari versus Rise? Is that kind of a scary comp for Ari, or is it kind of a scary comp for Rise?
Well, Rise, the thing about Rise is that he has a lot of damage. And none of his skills are skill shots, making Ari pretty much lose out because not only does Ari have less burst damage than Rise, she also pretty much relies on skill shots, meaning that Rise can pretty much land all his skills 100% of the time, while Ari is gonna have to be all about her how well she can play. But Rise still has advantage in having more bursts, so I don't see a matchup where Ari could potentially. Alright, here we see Ari actually winning against Rise. Ari's playing really well, landing every single skill shot, but it's unable to finish the kill, and that's the problem.
Yeah, Rise. He doesn't. He can't. I believe early game he can't really keep up with the damage in the sense of he hasn't built the mana, but he just I believe takes off past her.
Yeah.
Mid to late game.
Yeah, because Rise builds tanky and still does insane damage. So compared to Aru, who has to build pretty much all AP, Rise will just do more damage and will start to scale better, starting any point beyond early game.
Oh,
And
here
here
we
we see
see.
Lee Sin
Yep, go ahead.
stealing red and likely getting the kill on Maokai. Aurelia comes in and Maokai goes in, but to no avail, and Maokai falls.
Yeah, we see just how aggressive or Clark is actually keeping many wards on key objectives on the enemy jungle. He has a ward currently on blue at the moment, and he has a ward currently on red. And with that extra vision, he's denying Maokai that XP. I mean, Maokai's still, I believe, level 5. He hasn't even hit level 6 yet, and he's level 8. And actually, you see some action pure Aurelia versus Ari and Udyr, and they do get the Ignite on Aurelia to try to stop her healing from her ult. But she is able to get away, and Rise coming to back him up. And it looks like they should be able to get the kill on... I'm sorry, it looks like Aurelia and Lee Sin are a little too scared to go in, but there's a very good play by Rise, noticing that Ari was gone from middle and went to back him up on top.
Yes. And right now, it's looking very scary for top. Aurelia dives in, Lee Sin goes down, and Ari goes down.
Yeah, that was not a good exchange. 1 for 2 on that, and I mean Ari is kind of already behind, being 0 and well she was 0-2 beforehand, and they kind of give her a little assist, get a little gold back. I believe it was a really bad move on Aphromoo team. And Rise and Tarek, just that double stun, well, stuns that Slayer, and he does pick up a double kill. That Maokai still level, or he just hit level 6, and a level 10 Rise versus a level 6 Maokai, it's obviously going to win that fight.
Yeah.
But now Severe is kind of being denied a little bit. Her tower, really low health. She's kind of at half health as well. And Corky's picking up his farm. He's a good 20 CS ahead of Severe.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though bottom is doing very well, and here we see Aurelia going in on bottom with Silver ult, so she's moving very quickly with huge attack speed, and Soraka falls.
Yeah, that's the downside to a lot of supports running, because we talked about this in Ultim 10. I was talking to you about having CV flash versus, heal exhaust or exhaust flash, and we saw right there exactly why. Like, if you play a Soraka and you get out of position, you're gonna die, like, if you don't have that flash. It's really strong for the laning phase, but in mid to late game, you can just be picked off so easily if you're out of position.
Exactly. And right there, it was very well played by Aphromoo, who actually baited the advance by Corky. Corky knew that in 1v1 that Corky would win, especially with Soraka behind him. But Silver knew that Aurelia was coming up, and she immediately ults, also giving the ult to Aurelia, and goes in for the kill. And they got the kill. Even though it was on Soraka, they're still coming up ahead in these exchanges. So right now we still see TGF being behind by 5.5k gold, which is pretty significant at this stage of the game. And alright, both Lee Sin and Rise walks past a ward from TGF, so TGF knows that they're there.
And they're closing in on him right now.
Yeah, they are.
Sorry, Ari pops her ult and tries to get some damage on, but luckily, with Lee Sin's mobility and Rise, having his rune prison, they're not too scared of that. And I mean, Aurelia just gets to farm top and take advantage of the lead she already has.
Rightfully so. Ari actually needs levels for a lot of her damage to come in. She has very low base damage, and a lot of her damage comes from constantly using her spells over and over. And when you don't have those level advantages, your spells just don't do nearly as much damage as, say, Rise would, because Rise just...
There's a big action going at bottom, sorry. Looks like a 4-man dive actually is going to happen right here, and Aurelia taking most of the turret damage for for Muffin and for everyone else to get some damage in, and they're obviously going to pick these 2 kills up, which is huge. They're just increasing their lead even further. Unfortunately, Lee Sin does die to tower. But if you noticed before that Severe actually picked up the enemy team's blue, Maokai is getting counter jungled really hard. He's still level 7, Lee Sin is level 10. Unfortunately, what do you think Maokai can actually do to get back in the game at this point? They're picking up Dragon. They're just kind of snowballing this game further and further.
Yeah, it's one of the really common aspects of competitive League of Legends is that teams will likely try to snowball early game, and that's how League of Legends should be played. That's how the highest play is done, by taking small advantages and constantly pushing them, turning those small advantages into larger ones, and hence the snowball. So okay, so Aphromoo team just took the second dragon. They dove bottom, taking those 2 out. Even though they lost Lee Sin, they were still able to take dragon, and that was their goal. Diving bottom right before dragon spawns. That way, they can take dragon with little to no consequence.
Yeah,
And here
Corki
we
does pick
see
up the kill on
Corki.
Aphromoo.
Yeah, that was very well done. I completely missed it, but Corki's just doing really well despite his team not doing so well.
Yeah, he
And
got.
he actually gets. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. He got Severe to Boomerang Blade onto him, or to Boomerang Blade the tower, or sorry, Ricochet the tower, which actually hit him. And once he saw that the tower was engaged on her, he fought, and he has a phage to keep her slowed in the tower's range as well. And that's how he kind of got that advantage, even though he's kind of behind.
Yeah, that's likely just. Alright, so we see Udyr actually taking out Rise, but falling to Tarek, who actually now has a double buff. And here are 4 members of TGF coming in onto 3 members of Aphromoos team, and it looks like they will get away.
Yeah, they definitely need to run. They know that they don't have the advantage in that fight on a 3-on-4, even though they do have quite a huge gold lead.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, actually. The Maokai, he got counter jungled beyond belief. What should he have done to prevent that? Because I know people would really enjoy hearing advice on how to improve mistakes they see in casts and in other games.
Yeah, at level 2, Maokai was under his tower, around near his second tower, and he stayed when Lee Sin was right there, and Lee Sin got a kill on him. Not only that he lose the blue buff, the blue buff that he stole, he obviously lost time by being dead, and then Lee Sin in turn took all of his jungle. So basically, you just can't lose early on, even as Maokai. You have to be very careful for play and just not die. They lost the engagement top, and that was really pretty bad. But then afterwards dying, that just put him even further behind. And now he's currently 1-6 because Lee Sin just snowballs really well in the jungle, and that's really how Lee Sin's supposed to be played.
Yeah, I was talking to Goose from Atlanta a couple days ago, and he was saying that in a completely even match of teams and skill wise, if your jungler dies pre 5 or 6, to a gank or to while he's ganking, he gets counter ganked. It's really pretty much like the end of the game for you, just because of how far he gets set behind. And we see that Afro's team is actually trying to sneak up Baron here, and they don't have a pink ward, unfortunately. And luckily for TGF, they do have a ward on Baron and notice it and try to stop him. That would have been probably the end of the game for TGF if they did get that Baron.
Yeah, one thing I've noted with TGF is that they do ward a lot, even when they're behind. And that's what you want to do. When you're behind, you want more wards. Even though you have less gold, you want those wards so you can actually farm them and catch up. Otherwise, you'll just get towered over, just lose even more farm. And that's usually where the snowball comes from, when you stop warding. And so TGF is doing a very good job by warding, even though they are behind. So they did have a ward on Baron, and that was really what saved them right there. That's what they saved their play, and it's keeping them in the game for a bit longer. And even though they're still 7k gold behind, they are not out of the game yet.
Yeah, exactly. They do have 2 towers. They're also down 10 kills, but they still do have a decent team presence. They have a lot of damage out of Udyr, and Maokai's damage reduction for his whole team is pretty strong as well.
Yeah, I mean, Aphromoos team clearly has a strong late game comp, but really, any team can still outplay another even though there is advantage. So
Yeah, we.
here we see Tarek getting caught by Charm and Maokai. Lee Sin coming up to help.
Oh,
Oh,
it's quite a
but
lot of damage. Rayleigh is teleporting in to try to save her team, and she does get exhausted right when she gets in. Severe comes in from bottom and does pop her ult and keep everyone's movement speed and damage high. It looks like they're not going to be able to get any kills, but luckily they did save the Lee Sin, if anything. And Severe's still being aggressive, and Rise. It looks like actually they want some blood. Ari goes down. Corki should go down here pretty soon if Severe has any mana left for a Boomerang Blade. But she just hit a Ricochet, and unfortunately not enough. They are going to pick up the Soraka, though. Like I was saying, no flash on Soraka. She will get left behind. She really needs to get her Shurelias to at least be able to escape somewhat. But wow, that was a pretty good turnaround. Even though that Aphromee's team did lose, I believe it was 2 deaths. Yeah, 2 deaths for 2 for 2. So that actually worked out.
yeah, that was very surprising considering that Tarek went down very, very early. And despite that, the rest of Afro's team actually followed up and chased him down with Cyril and came out even. So that was very impressive.
Yeah,
And
it looked
here
like
there were also still a boo buff from Ari, and that's gonna really hurt.
yeah, it looked like Turk was actually trying to bait them in a little bit, knowing that his team was on the way. He did have heal, but he did get ignited, I believe, right before he popped it. So actually, he got ignited after and got hit with some burst, and unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But it was a decent bait. It would have been better, obviously, if he didn't die, but it worked out in the end. They made out even in that fight. And we see
Yeah.
again just how important warding enemy objectives are. They're just sitting here waiting for a dude trying to take red and get this kill, and Rise is coming in, gonna get his rune prison off, which keeps a dude there, obviously, and Maokai's saving them. Wow. That was a really nice slow by Maokai to keep them off and keep Udyr and keep that red buff for their team.
Yeah. Udyr actually had a ward there, so he knew that Tarek was around, but he still went for it, knowing that Tarek alone would not be able to stop him. And even though Udyr had to blow his flash and in order to escape, he at least did make it out. And right now, Afro's team is going for Baron, and there are no wards from TGF in that area, so maybe they can get a free Baron right here.
Yeah, and one thing I want to talk, actually, I'll save this for later, because it looks like Corky's coming over to check if they are actually doing Baron. And they see him coming, and they really does actually charge in to try to keep him off, and they do pick up the Baron. And it looks like TGF is going to have to retreat, and it looks like instead of backing and buying anything, Aphromu's team is actually going to try to pick up Dragon to kind of control the gold even more in this game. They're up almost 10k gold against TGF.
Yeah, unfortunately, TGF is still really, really behind, and that Baron is just not helping them. Losing Baron for free is not what they needed at this point. The wards dropped in that area, and after we had a pink ward there, so they knew that TGF didn't have a ward there, and they simply weren't careful enough, and they just gave up a free dragon, and that's really not what you want.
Well, one of the great things though about League of Legends is that it may look like you're down and out, but there still is a chance. Like they can get an amazing sneak attack. They could get just sort of pick one off and kind of turn the game around. Because I know quite a few people on Afternoon's team have a huge bounty on their heads, which would be really nice for the carries on TGF.
Right. But right now, it looks like that Lee Sin is still bottom. So right now, it's still 4v5 mid. And like you said, if they were to be engaged right now, they could potentially lose out on several members. So we'll see if TGF is willing to engage here.
One thing I want to talk about is that we were talking about how Maokai got counter jungled really hard throughout the entire game. Now, is this kind of the support's role to try to put some wards down and try to prevent that, or is it just the jungler's role, or just the entire team's role to make sure their jungler doesn't get shut out as hard as unfortunately Kola has?
Well, it really depends. In this specific game, um, Lee Sin had a lot of presence in the top jungle, which belongs to both mid and top, and obviously jungle. So in that case, the support really couldn't do much. He has no CV. There was not much he could have done to help out that area. So it was really up to top and a bit on mid to help Maokai not get too far behind. But unfortunately, Maokai just fell too behind by just dying. And like I said earlier, you just can't die. to enemy jungle and leave your jungle wide open. So it wasn't all Qual's fault in his play, but there's definitely some mistakes that he could have avoided that would have made his jungle a lot cleaner.
Yeah, and I believe that TGF has actually only had one. Actually, no, I don't think they've had one blue buff from their own jungle this entire game because Aphromoo's team has been doing really well on objective control.
Right. Actually, I believe Maokai did get his own blue once, but he
Oh, okay.
lost it. So Ari actually never got a blue, and that's very unfortunate for her. So she actually uses her blue very well. And here we see Maokai going down in their own base. So I mean, right now it's looking really, really bad for TGF.
Yeah, we see how strong Aphromoo's team's comp is in this. That you have Rise Rune Prison, you have Tarek's Dazzle, you have Lee Sin Slow. It kind of just it keeps one person there permanently, and we see Aurelia teleporting here onto a minion to actually stop the towers from killing it, which is really awesome because they get that free tower, and it looks like Chu is actually going to try to keep any of them away from the towers to defend it. And it looks like obviously this is GG. They're going to pick up the Nexus, and it
Right.
looks like that's going to be game.
Yep. This is game definitely.
Oh, look,
That's
tower
she's
diving.
diving onto the fountain.
Fountain is number one.